All right, I think we're live now. I don't know what happened. It said it was trying to record. Hey, welcome. Happy Thursday. What a beautiful day to be alive. And I'm coming to you live from Orin Town. And Eric Casano, who's coming into us from LA. And hey, good morning, everybody. And today, this is a special presentation due to scheduling because Eric is going to be in Peru soon. And so we just scheduled it. And so, in the event of these scheduling, I'm willing to adjust schedules to make special accommodation for special guests. So, Eric is in the queue. He is adding. So, welcome everybody. Yeah, what a beautiful day to be alive. Gosh, it's just like springtime out here. It's in the 50s, and I keep adding him, and he is approved. And so I'll add him again. This is always a process, folks, and doing live is always interesting. And looks like he's connecting now. And oh, there he is.
Hello.
Hey, Eric, how you doing?
Good. It's nice to meet you. And face to
Yeah,
face.
finally. We've been. I first discovered you. You were making some videos with Health Nut Guy,
Troy Casey.
and yeah, that's when I first saw you, first learned about you, and I've always just loved you, bro. I find you guys, you're just an interesting and wonderful human being, and I love you dearly, man.
Thank you
This
so
is a
much.
privilege.
Likewise. And you probably have the catchiest name I've ever heard in my life. Weedu Shevon Boo.
Well, you know, yeah, blam, right? And when I first started drinking pee, I don't know, it just kind of appeared to me, when I learned what Shevon Boo meant.
Yeah.
And I thought, we do, I just thought, I do Shevon Boo, we do Shevon Boo. It just kind of resonated with me and I cracked myself up.
Good. Good. Great
So
with a
I
clap.
even have a little catchy tune. It's like, we do Shevon Boo, we do Shevon Boo.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Mooch.
Eric and I, yeah. Cheers. uh, Today we're going to talk about the metaphysics of Shivambu, and I'm excited about this.
Yeah. It's pretty wild because there is no manual, there's no PDF to how this very miraculous substance works. So a lot of my experience with it is just that. It's experience with it. And while I haven't studied any ancient alchemical texts, I sort of have a broad understanding of how this works. And like I said, it's the experience I have with it is really phenomenal. So if you look at like Dr. Emoto's work, if you believe in, and this type of stuff that he researched, he was changing tap water by thought. He was changing the structure by thought. He would bless some water, freeze it, and then they would look at the frozen water under a microscope and they would see, oh, if you sent this jar of water, if you sent it love, the geometrical shapes were symmetrical. And I mean, it's really fascinating. So obviously the same thing's going to work with our own urine. But because the urine is inside us, what we're thinking all the time makes a huge difference with when we pee in a jar. So if you're full of love and awesome bliss, then when you pee in a jar and you let it ferment, then it's gonna have better vibrations than if you're always upset and peeing in a jar and like, oh God, I have to drink this again. Like, no. You know, what blows people's minds is when I talk about urine therapy, I say, I bless my pee and I thank God for it. And people can't wrap their head around that. They're like, whoa, you mean that stuff that I pee down the toilet, the stuff that goes down the toilet, you bless it? I'm like, yeah, I bless it.
Yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean, that's all cool and all, but with the metaphysical aspect, what I've seen is when you pee in a jar and you let it ferment, I mean, it sounds a bit new agey, but you are putting your intention into that jar. And I came up with something, I don't think I'm the first person to come up with this. I come up with something called the pour out method of, and I've told you this before on your Facebook. It's of gathering lots of ormus. Ormus is a really new agey term, and I believe the white powder in our urine, I believe it's just lymphatic fluid. And obviously it can't harm you because I've taken high doses of this lymphatic fluid, and it has the same effects of the ormus that you could buy at your health food store. And basically what those effects feel like, they help, you can concentrate better. Whenever you take ormus, you're just like, bing, you can really focus. And I notice the same thing when ingesting the ormus from our own urine. I can take some and I can meditate easier, I can read easier, I'm far more focused. So the pour out method, I want to tell some of our viewers this thing that I came up with, but I'm probably not the first person to do it. Basically, you get a big jar, you pee in it to the top. Every day you pour out half of the jar except the sediment at the bottom. So then you pee in it again, and then that sediment goes to the bottom. So you just repeat that every day. Every day you pour out half and fill it up with fresh pee. Within a month's time, at the bottom of the jar, you'll see a big stack of white powder, ormus, lymphatic fluid, whatever sort of magical substance, byproduct of your urine, whatever that is. It seems to have great health benefits, and you don't need to take much of it. You only need a few drops here and there. You put your intention into it. And like I said, whatever you're thinking about when you pee in that jar, it seems like when you finally ingest it, that you bring those energies into your life. And there's not much logic behind this. This is, like, lack of a better term, metaphysical. This is intuitive type of alchemy, you know, and it's phenomenal. I mean, I've thought about what I've wanted while peeing in a jar over and over and over, and then when I finally drink the pee, it seems like whatever I wanted just comes into my life. And it's like, you got to be careful because you want your thoughts to be loving and pure, and you want to be focused whenever you're creating your urine, whenever you're fermenting pee. You really want to put focus into it. If not, I mean, you'll still have great benefits. It's not going to hurt, you know. But
Yeah.
pretty.
Well, I was showing when I was with Dave the other day. I was showing um, the bottle. I have a Dawn bottle, and it has a good inch thick ormus on the bottom, and the longer you age, the more it increases and multiplies. And you're right about the recycling in splitting half jars. I've heard that before.
It's pretty
And yeah. And Rosalind Hanson, she's done a lot of study on this one. She's real
excellent.
brilliant when it comes to the ormus, man. She's the
Yeah,
go-to girl.
that's cool. That's cool. So I want to share a recipe with you and your viewers, something that I created. Even though, I mean, I could say I created it, it felt like I had a creative epiphany last year when I found out this recipe that I don't think any human's ever done, ever. But even though to some degree, I created it, I'm still just a vessel of God. And when I get these downloads, I feel like it's not even me. It's like, I can't take credit for any of my creativity, really. I give it all up to the creator. So anyway, I want to share this amazing recipe that I came up with last year. It is it's mind altering, and it is legal, and it's fascinating. So before I tell you the recipe, first I want to tell you guys about where some of my next level work with Shevon Boo started. I found this guy on YouTube. He calls himself Liver Flush Man. And he's a Canadian dude up in Victoria, Canada. I think he's one of the most progressive urine therapy advocates out there right now. And he's a little out there, and he's a spiritual dude. And a lot of people would hear him speak and be like, "Whoa, I don't know about that." But I mean, this kid's onto something. Anyway, this guy, liver flush man, his name is Jordan Blakey. He found that if you drink a lot of kombucha and you pee in a big jar and you let that sit for 9 months, that an Ormus SCOBY grows on the top of the urine. And this guy, Jordan Blakey, said he ate it, this like 9-month SCOBY that grew on top of urine. He said he ate it, and he said it was one of the best experiences of his life. He said it wasn't as visual as ayahuasca or mushrooms, but he said that he claimed it healed him, and he claimed that it was the most blissful experience that he's ever had, and he felt one with the universe. And that's just from urine alone, but he said he drank a lot of kombucha with it. So I've never had the patience to let my urine sit for 9 months. I always want to do an enema with it or use it on my skin or something. But I'm definitely, I think he's fascinating what he came up with. So anyway, I took his work and I expanded on it. I said, well, how could this is something I'd been thinking about for 3 years. I said, how can I create a kombucha SCOBY with Ormus from my urine? And it took me a long time to figure this out. So here's what I figured out. You do the pour out method that I just explained, where you fill a big glass of urine, and every day you pour out half, and then you fill it up with fresh pee. In a month's time, you'll have a big stack of Ormus. So here's the next step that I found out of creating this recipe with no name. Maybe you guys can help me come up with a name for it. So you have your Ormus in a big jar. You pour out all of the urine except for the Ormus at the bottom. Now you wash it out with kombucha 3 times. That means you pour kombucha in your Ormus, let the Ormus settle, and then pour out the kombucha. And do that 2 more times. Pour in kombucha, let the Ormus settle, pour out the kombucha. So that washes out all of the urine out of your Ormus. So then the 4th time, you pour 1 more kombucha in your Ormus, put a coffee filter on top of your jar, and let that sit for a week. Now what happens is that the kombucha SCOBY begins to form on the surface, but the Ormus at the bottom actually comes alive, grows little tentacles, and attaches itself to the kombucha SCOBY. And it's like,
Wow.
It's incredible. It is incredible. It looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. I mean, it really looks, so cool. It's beautiful, and it looks alien, but it's also very intelligent. It's a living thing, no doubt. And you're creating kombucha with your DNA, your intentions, your ego. And initially, it's like, it's your personal kombucha. So as you're creating this, because this is, like I said, it's a living thing. It does hear you, psychically, however you want to look at it. As you're creating it, again, it's very important to tell it your intention. That's what it wants you to do. It wants to help you. It wants to help create abundance in your life, whether it's health or love or friends or whatever your trip is, whatever you want, this thing can assist you with it. So anyway, so after this little SCOBY is formed, the Ormus attaches itself to the kombucha SCOBY, and that only takes a week to make. So after that's made, that's when you want to pour your sweet tea into the jar with your kombucha Ormus SCOBY, and you let that sit for about 2 or 3 weeks, and put a little vinegar in it as well to make sure the pH is low. And basically,
what type of vinegar?
I use apple cider vinegar. I think most kombucha advocates will say used white vinegar, but apple cider vinegar seems to work fine with me. And it's just to lower the pH. And so I've only made this 1 time. And when I finally drank it and I meditated, it was so chill. And like I said, the substance felt very intelligent, but the feeling of my body was like, I was very relaxed. I was able to sit down and meditate for an hour easily. And usually I have to struggle to go the whole hour. That's a little difficult for me. But this substance, this Ormus kombucha SCOBY, it seems like no one else has ever done this. And this is a recipe I want to share with the world because I want other people to expand on my research and see what they can find out about it, because it's fascinating stuff. It's really, it's mind-boggling, you know. And yeah, so what do we call it?
I first heard of the water, with the back in the like 90s, the whole experiment with the sending the vibration to the waters.
Yep.
And so, and a lot of people have experimented with this with rice and all sorts of things,
Right.
just to, see what the vibe is. And it is so clear, that we are, we are the magic.
Yeah, exactly. That,
yeah.
that is so interesting that you say that, because me being how I am, I'm a lot of times I'm looking for external help, whether it's from this or that or this or that. But I actually received a message from my kombucha SCOBY last year, and it said exactly what you said. It said, Eric, you're the magic. I'm not the magic.
Yeah.
You're the magic. I'm like, oh, right. Okay, it's all inside me. I forget this. So spot on for saying that.
Well, it's just so interesting how this is all formulating, because it's always in the moment, And I scribed a poem this morning that I posted on my pages that
Cool.
just it totally makes reference to what we're talking about right now. And I have a tendency to listen to Terrence McKenna and
Love him.
Alan Watts and Noam Chomsky and Muji. There's so many to listen to, and even Krishnamurti. And the thing that I gather from listening to their wisdom is that they all keep coming back to the same message. It's all in you.
Yeah.
So if you keep I've noticed and I've experienced, because I've attended a lot of seminars, I've read a lot of books, and I did discover that I kept looking outside of myself for all the answers, and it just, everything that I kept researching kept resorting that message back to me, that it was an inside job, that when we really truly discover who we are being, it'll reveal itself. And so I mean, you can sit at the and it's funny because Alan Watts and Terrence McKenna both kind of make comedy out of it, and it's like the GURU, and if you sit at the as a herd, flocking around these, and they loosely call them shysters, people that charge all this money, to show you, I mean, all it's got to do is look in the mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, really authentically, right?
Yeah, totally. It's all inside.
Yeah.
And speaking of it all being within, I used to hear that that saying, the healing comes from within. And once I discovered urine therapy, I was like, oh, it literally does come from within. It literally is us, And man, yeah, it's late. So the past, for me personally in my journey, the past 4 months, I haven't been drinking much urine. I still do enemas with it and make the ormus with it, but I have to say, my life feels so much better when I drink urine every day. I'm way more. I'm not so emotional. I'm way more like focused and zen. My emotions are happy, sad, happy, sad. It's like I just feel zenned out when I drink pee all day. I'm just like, it really, they say that ormus and urine helps balance the hemispheres of your brain. So, and I feel that way. I feel when I drink, like when I'm on a urine fast, I'm just, I'm so present in Zen. And I mean, you're inspiring me now because I'm like, all right, I gotta get back on it. Like I've been very human in the past 4 months, and I've been eating food and just being normal and you know, normal American, which is, there's nothing normal about being a normal American, but um, yeah, man, you know, I just feel better when I drink my morning urine and start every day with breath work. And I have a new obsession now, ice baths. That's my new thing. I did a 3-minute ice bath this morning. Wow. Oh, it's life changing. It's life changing, and it goes right along with natural healing techniques. You know, drinking urine and breath work and ice baths are like it's the best things I've discovered for my own personal health. You know, those 3 things specifically.
Well, and again, that when we realize that we have the tools, you know, that they're all here. The tools are there.
Yeah.
And when we just choose to use, we'll discover the magic. Now, I haven't missed one day, not one day.
Good.
Since I started a year ago. I missed a day. I drink.
Yeah,
I always drink my morning. Now, you know, if you read Martha Christie, you know, she says, you know, first pee out, then take your midstream and do the, you know,
sure.
not the. I just drink it all. I just drink it all. I don't care.
That's what
me
too. Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, because yeah, you know, a lot of something I have read a lot is the Shevon Boo from the Dharma Tantra, and I think I mean, that book is amazing, and it is shrouded in a bit of you know, religion. It's shrouded in their culture at the time, 500 years ago. So they talk about eating certain foods and all this, but they also talk about, you know, drinking the midstream. And what I found, like you can just drink all of it. You don't even need to worry about the midstream. You know, the Dharma Tantra also says, you know, make sure you boil your water before you put it on the skin. But we've all seen, you know, it's okay, like it's fine. You know, they were great. I still love the book.
This,
yep.
Yeah. Now this is my oldest, you know, and you can see how beautiful it is, you know, and I like the spritz bottle. You know, this morning I did a full body rub. I did it, you know, 3 times. You know, I just go top to bottom, rub it in, and start again, and it's amazing how it feels. You know, the age shit is really. I mean, you know, the age. That's the dope, man. The age stuff is right. Right now, I just added another gallon. I got 26 gallons and counting.
Nice.
Aging. Yeah. Well, I'm a pee machine, man.
Yeah. I mean, so I want to answer Noah's question real quick. He said, "I'm not trying to be rude, but do you do you treat any of your urine?" No. We drink it straight up. It's good to go.
Yeah.
And which is it's a normal question. I get asked that a lot. You know what everyone asks me when I say I drink my pee? First question I get. Everybody asks this. It's crazy. They say, "Do you chill it or put it on ice?" It's like everyone. And I'm like, no, I don't chill it or put it on ice. And you know, room temperature, good to go.
Well, I do treat mine. I treat it like gold that it is.
Funny.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. So let's see. So have you tried aged urine enemas? Have you done that yet?
Oh yeah, that's all I do. I mean, you know, people do coffee and other things. I started with the aged, and that's all I've ever done, and they are awesome.
It's dynamite. I also started because of my cancer battles. I started doing the coffee enema, and while it's cool, once you get into aged urine enemas, you'll say bye bye coffee forever. You'll be like, it's just way safer. It's way more bliss. You know, it alkalizes the body. You can feel it. Like, I mean, I can feel it healing my system when I do aged urine enemas. It's like it's doing something magic that I can't quite explain. I mean, here's my question. I wonder if any of those stem cells get through the blood barrier, like are getting into your bloodstream. I'm not sure if they do. It definitely is. healed my colon like next level, you know, but I feel it. I feel something magic getting into my bloodstream. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's, you know, a lot of people are worried about uric acid and things like that, but uric acid and urea, they don't leave your digestive system. They're not absorbed by your blood, so it can't hurt you. You know what I mean? But I think some of the magic juju in the aged urine does get into the bloodstream. You know, if that's stem cells or not, I don't know, but it's good stuff regardless. And
Yeah,
hold on.
I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physiologist. I mean, I understand. I mean, I've learned more about my body in the last year than I ever had a clue about at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Monica Shute and Rosalind Hanson have both been really just genuine mentors
That's
for
cool.
me. That's how Monica Shute is how I learned about the aged urine and how to do it, how to store it.
Yeah.
She posted up in one of the groups, and I went, "Oh, wow! I think I'll start saving it."
That's awesome.
Makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So here's something, I mean, I find it really interesting that you have like 25 gallons of pee, because something that I want to do, I want to save like 30, 40 gallons, put it in like a big like trash can and be able to submerge myself completely in urine. That's something I would like to do. Well, you know, I mean, it won't take up that much space. I need like 5 gallon, you know, drums or something, or maybe 8 5 gallon drums. But I, I mean, if you could submerge yourself in completely in aged urine, it would be it. I've never done it, but it'd probably be like being reborn, because, you know, when you're a baby for 9 months, you're swimming in 70% urine the whole time.
yes,
So it's like,
exactly.
you know, we can like sort of recreate that if we, you know, if we're crazy
Well,
enough.
I did my very first urine baths just over the holidays when we were in over in Odessa and had access to a bathtub. I live in a 31-foot trailer, so you imagine what kind of bath I have. but but it was just awesome. And what I did is I brought a few gallons along with me for that journey, and I poured 2 gallons of aged urine into a hot bath, and it was really just 2 gallons was amazing, truly amazing, because the water felt like silk.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so, oh man, and I laid in there for an hour.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Well,
Now,
your skin.
one of the things I'm intending to create here in Orintown is as the spring and summer keeps coming and warmer temperatures, I'm going to be like looking on Craigslist for free materials, which when people do remodels, they just throw out bathtubs and whatnot. And so I'm looking to create a bathtub that I can just keep constant and let it just keep energizing with
Yeah.
photosynthesis, and cover
Yeah.
it, with like a tarpaulin or something so it doesn't get a lot of debris or any of that,
Right.
and go out
Right.
and soak in it every day. Just, it's like my own urine hot tub.
Yeah.
I intend to do that. It's on my
I
it's
dig.
on my list.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of wild stuff that a lot of wild a lot of wild stuff we can make with urine. Have you read the Book of Aquarius? Do you have an opinion on that?
No, I haven't read that book. And I just want to note, Leah, she's coming in with some comments, and she's going to be my guest here in a couple of weeks. She's got a really amazing testimony about her process of healing. But
Well, she's
she
speaking
just
my language
says,
right now.
yeah.
Because
Can you read the comments? You see
yeah,
what she's saying?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Because detoxing too fast, it can be painful, but I mean, in my opinion, it's not very physically painful. For me, it's like emotionally painful. It's like
yeah.
we don't want to. I mean, we can do whatever we want, but if you want to detox slowly, it could be it could be easier on the brain, on the heart, you know, so we're not receiving too much information too fast. Because when you start doing a urine fast, especially if you mix it with breath work, I mean, you're going to be bombarded by psychic energy, you know, and you're going
Yeah.
to, oh, am I ready to see this aspect of my subconscious? Am I ready to deal with this
Yeah.
trauma? You know, and I know, and I mean, you know, urine has our back the whole way, and
Yeah.
but it's a symbiotic relationship. You know, we have to form a healthy relationship with the urine if that's going to be part of our path. You know, and
Well, you know, for me, now, I didn't do any other modalities in my life. You know, I never did any of the liver cleanse, you know, being a juicer. I mean, I never did anything like that. It just wasn't in my wheelhouse, wasn't even in my consciousness.
yeah,
So when I started the urine therapy, it was only about urine. That's
yeah,
all it's ever been about.
yeah,
That's all I ever used.
yeah.
And so I've detoxed a lot. I
Wow.
mean, you know, when I went on the longest fast, which was like around 14 days, I mean, I withered. I mean, I got down to 144 pounds and
Yeah.
my skin was hanging on me like a cheap suit.
It'll
But
snap back though, right?
I realized how much of that was all detox. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I was, you know, starving myself, or it wasn't any of that.
Nope.
It was just all of that shit that was in my system being released. And I was physically feeling it, watching it happen, and willing to accept it as a part of the process.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Totally. I still have a lot of detoxing I need to do. So, and
Don't we
I've
all?
I've
It's a constant.
I've never. Yeah, it is. It is. And I've never pushed a urine fast past 3 weeks. That's been my longest. And and I've done that. I've done a 3 week fast twice, I think. And I did a week fast with Troy Casey a few months ago, which was nice. But I noticed with fasting on urine, it's like you might be depriving yourself of some protein and some other nutrients that you might need to like, you know, go jog 5 miles. But I'll tell you this, with urine fasting, I never got a headache. I never felt bad. I never like really had negative thoughts. It was always like during a urine fast, it's always peaceful, and it's different than you have less energy than if you do a juice fast, for example. But there's this there's this amount of clarity that you receive from urine fasting. It really does help decalcify your body, not just your pineal gland, but your entire
Oh,
body,
yeah.
and you can feel
Well,
it working.
you know, I was an extreme, my arthritis was off the chart. I couldn't even use my hands when I started urine therapy. I was seeing a
Wow,
hand therapist and getting ready for surgery on my hands. So, I mean, it was
wow,
so dramatic for me, the decalcification process. And it was rapid because when I started, I went to a total fruitarian, drinking a gallon of urine or distilled a day. And I did this for weeks. And I had total movement in my hands within 10 days and stopped all medication within 2 weeks.
that's
It was
incredible.
that fast.
That's
Yeah, I mean, it
incredible.
was just high speed. Now,
So,
I've been recently rereading Man's Higher Consciousness by Hilton Hotemas. Now, he doesn't even talk about urine therapy, you know, in his knowledge, and his knowledge is fascinating. So when you're talking about the protein, okay, our bodies are complete, you know, according to all of his knowledge and research, and I trust that. We don't get any of this substance from food at all. Food just goes through us. It doesn't give us protein. You know, it doesn't do any of those things. You know, that is just myth making. And it takes a lot to wrap your head around that because we've been so programmed
sure,
to think that, you know, other than that.
right.
So, you know,
Well,
you doing breath work, you know, I mean, he says that the breath is the bottom line. You can go without food, you can go without water, but try going without breath for three
right,
minutes and then check
exactly.
in, you
Well,
know?
So no, I mean, that's an interesting point because it's something that I would like to explore as well. So what about people who let's say they want to get bulky, they want to like get huge, you know? Wouldn't they need more protein than people like us who are just trying to breathe and live and, you know, be kind of healthy along the way? Because I really believe that, you know, our society is obsessed with protein, that we think we need so much of it. And I think even if you wanted to build muscle, you would probably need so little protein. But, so I'm just, so wait, who is this guy who says we don't need protein so much? Like, because this is an interesting subject, because I know when I don't feel fine. I don't feel bad when I don't have protein, you know, and I'm not a meat eater. I mean protein from lentils, you know, or protein from cashews. But this is the most, protein I think is the most taboo subject in America right now. Like,
well, and that's why I say this, you know, Man's Higher Consciousness is a really deep read. You know,
I'm gonna check it out.
Hilton Hotemus. Yeah, and I learned about that book from allegedly Dave, because he made references to it. And what I learned from this read is that we as a species started out as total breatharians.
Sure.
That was it. And then eventually we found water, started to drink it, so we started to become liquidarians.
Yeah.
And then we found the fruits hanging, became fruitarians, started learning agriculture, whatever, started creating, you know, more food source from the ground to become vegetarians. And then we started slaughtering, you know, other species to become carnivores.
Right.
And so when you take those layers and look at them in their sequencing, it just makes sense.
It does.
But we're conditioned because of our habit, you know, our food habit and what we've been led to believe, that you can't just stop eating. You can train your body to get back to that pure sense. You can become a breatharian. It's been perfectly proven that if one person can do it, millions others can. But you can't. It's like being an opiate addicted person. You can't just stop or you'll die. You have to. It's called the law of vital adjustment. That's the frame of reference. The law of vital adjustment. So anything we've, you know, gone to, we have to take a withdrawal from. And it is a practice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's true, because I definitely believe in the de-evolution of man, and, you know, how that came about. There's a lot of different theories, but I'm definitely with you on that. And it's like, now we're trying to evolve back to it. So it's like, this is the way I look at it, is that we might genetically be designed to eat meat because of our ancestors, but we're moving out of that. And, you know, like some people, if they're big meat eaters and they just stop eating meat one day, they're going to be like, wow, my body needs protein. But like you said, it's like an opioid addiction, and you have to like slowly come off meat. And I think that's the key for humanity, is for us to slowly come off meat, one day slowly come off food, one day slowly come off water, and then, you know, ascend with our breath. And I mean, I'm with that. Like, you're making sense for sure.
Well, and like I said in his book, I mean, and this is a fascinating read. I've reread it 6 times because it is just so deep, you know, in wisdom and, you know, reference. But I truly believe that we can live on pee and breath and photosynthesis. You know, from everything that I've understood up to this point, I think it's totally obtainable in practice.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is too. It's just, man, I'm so addicted to food.
The first step is always getting out of the head. The head gets in the way. You know, what we've been programmed to believe. That's the biggest step, is to reprogram what we're thinking.
That's right. That's right. Unprogram and then reprogram. I know.
Yes.
And like, man, if Terrence McKenna says anything that I really resonate, it's kind of like culture is your enemy. You know? And it's
Yeah.
true. It's true. And like
It's absolutely true. You know, if
yeah.
we don't turn off the noise, we'll never get to the right frequency.
Yeah.
And you know, our whole environment is filled with white noise. You know, it's no different. You know, it's like Tesla always refers to energy, frequency, vibration, and that's all we really are. We're electromagnetic fields. So when we tone ourselves and tune into that frequency, and I choose to call it frequency anymore, the higher
Frequency. Waiting for
frequency,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it is. It's just no different. If you understand vibration and waves and frequency, it's no different than, you know, having a radio station, you know, that's getting static and all that. Same thing happens in the brain. Same thing happens in our whole electromagnetic field if we're not in the right frequency. If we're
Yeah.
not, we won't feel the good vibrations.
Yeah.
The energy's incorrect.
Totally. So with that being said, I need to start fasting on my pee-pee. I have to say though, I did when I did that fast with Troy Casey in April, I think we did it because I hadn't fasted in a long time, and I was like, Troy, let's do a fast. We'll put it on your social media. It'll be awesome, you know. And it totally was, and it helped motivate me. But one thing that really blew my mind was doing breath work while 3 days deep on the urine fast. It was so intense I had to like back off a little because it was like too much too fast. It was like too much
Yeah.
clarity. I was so used to the white noise. I'm like, oh, too much clarity, you know, I need some garbage. I need to lower my vibe. And seriously,
Yeah.
that's what happens to me a lot of times. I start raising my vibration with fasting and breath work, and it becomes so intense that I'm like, well, let me just bring it down with this veggie sandwich, you know. And it's like, and I mean, the best example is what you said. It's like an addiction. It's like an opiate addiction. If you come off too fast, it can be painful. But if you slowly wean yourself off with love and acceptance and no guilt and forgiveness, and just realize taking responsibility but still understanding that we are a product to our society. You know, we have to look at both ends of what it means to raise our vibration and what it means to be part of this you know, society that's seated in fear. And that's just
Well, and it goes right back to the beginning of what you were saying about Emoto's water testing, okay? Now
yeah,
we are water, okay? So it only bears to reason that if you are in a fear vibration, you're going to get those results. And I
right.
mean, you can't straddle this shit. You can't. You can't just be in and out, in and out. You either dedicate to and the frequency it provides, or you're going to get other results. And the only other choices are fear based under many subcategories. And,
Mm.
you know, there's no other reasoning that makes any sense, not to me. It's the only reasoning. This is why I just love everything all the time. Oh no, where'd he go? Hey, he disappeared. I'm sure he'll be back. And I don't know what happened, but hey guys, hey, thanks for joining us today. This is awesome. I really love hanging with this brother. He's a special human being, and I'm going to give it a couple of minutes to whatever. I'm sure he'll return. Sounds like his phone dropped or something. I don't know. So I'll just take a moment to do some promo. um, I actually am going to be on a program somebody else hosts tomorrow night, Friday night. It's on a YouTube channel called Lola Live, and I'm going to be her guest for a couple hours. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern for anybody who's interested. And next Monday, I'm going to be a guest. Here he is. He's back. His phone went dead. I had a feeling. That's why I have mine plugged in. So we'll bring him back. Let's see. I'll just finish the promo, Eric. Hang on a second, and I'll find you here. Get your phone charging. And so I'm going to be on this radio program in Europe, which I'm pretty excited about. Uh, Brian Smith is the host on that. But next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about organic gardening with Urine, with three incredibly brilliant women, Rosalind Hanson and Linda Maris and Nancy Fox. They're all successful organic gardeners using peat. And the week after that, I'm going to have Stephen Williams, the director and producer of Urine, which is it got its first gold award just a couple days ago. So he's on a roll. It's happening. I look way forward to him. And then also, I just want to take a moment to mention the Water Life Symposium. It's in September, in Las Vegas, September 21st, 2nd, and 3rd. And you can go to waterlifesymposium.com to register. It's $35, and it is a beautiful communion to share with other beautiful people. So, with all that being said, let's see if we can find Eric here and see what happens. Well, Eric, you should just reappear. Let's see. Okay, I just re-invited you. Let's see. Well, you're invited. And I'm pushing all the correct buttons. It says you're invited. So I don't know. Does give you any prompts on your phone, Eric? Because I've already recreated you into the queue. You've been invited back. So I don't know. Where'd you go? And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do other than what I'm doing here, Eric. Look on your prompts and see, because you have been re-invited. I just did all that. So I don't know. Live. Come to you live from Town, the Orin Oracles with Eric Casano, my special guest. Oh, he's on his computer, and we went through this with Dave, and it didn't work on his computer for some reason. It worked on a Kindle, it worked on his phone. Can you plug in your phone on a charger and have it get back on your phone? Because as far as I know, that is the best method. What we were doing works the best. That's why I've chosen to not use my computer as the format. I use my phone because it just seems to work best. Yeah, so yeah, he's in the queue. He'll be back. So also, I want to take a moment to also, the Orin Oracles all came from a book. And those are a book of poems that I've scribed. And it's in the publisher now. I'm doing I'm being it's a great opportunity. Because I'm not much of an office administrator. I'm an artist. I understand what I understand, but getting into all those details is it's out of my wheelhouse, so it's a whole process for me. But if you'd like to become a part of that book, I welcome you to do so. You can simply donate $25 to paypal.me/Weedu. And with that, you'll get a signed and numbered copy when the book is complete. And you'll also be in the acknowledgments. You'll be in the book. So, okay. I'm just waiting for him because he's in the invite. I can't push any more buttons. I think he's getting his phone thing worked out. That's what happens live. Just what happens. So today is such a beautiful day. See, I'm wearing a tank top. The Hive Tribe. And yeah, this is a shirt, another shirt I created. And also, any of you listeners out there who are not familiar, I did create a group called the Hive Tribe, and I welcome you to join. And he says he's charging now. Hive Tribe. Yeah. So, yeah, I welcome you. You just, go to the Facebook Hive Tribe and request to be a member, and I will approve of you. And it's like an open mic. I welcome anybody to bring their knowledge, their wisdom, their experience, and their shares. And, you're free to post as well. So it's all good. It's all love. So I keep seeing Eric typing things in. I don't know. Let me, I'll push a button again. See what happens here. Let's see if he recreates. And so far he's still, yeah, you're already invited. You're in the queue. Either way, I can't undo what I've already done. You're there. So 1 minute, he says. Now, for all you people that are, and I see your requests. There's several people who want to come on camera, but it just clutters up the screen, quite frankly. And I'm on my phone, and I thank you for wanting to become active that way. But I need to keep enough so I can see Eric, so I can see what's being commented and any questions. Anybody have any questions, by the way? If you have any questions, please ask. I'd be more than happy to respond. I'm sure Eric will too. And what we've been talking about is the metaphysics of Shevon Boo. And we have to really look deep in within to understand how powerful all this is. And it is very powerful. As a matter of fact, another thing that I've created is another live broadcast, which my producer, Casey Caban, I'm his stunt double. He is using Saturday mornings to do a live broadcast for questions and answers. And, in that, I'd be happy to invite more people to just kind of join the conversation. So, we'll, that's Saturday mornings. That is 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday mornings. So I'm going to go ahead and because this was so much what we've been talking about, I'm going to share this poem that I happened to scribe this very morning. And it is entitled, Our Truth is Within. In search of a practice and looking for clues, whatever is needed is inside of you. We can go to the ashram and read endless books in search of an answer holed up in a nook. These steps are all healthy if they help us to see that we are the masters who set ourselves free. When we follow teachers and hang on their words, can we find our answer trapped in a herd? When we surrender, it's a place to begin. The answers we're seeking they live within. Great masters teach us our truth is within. As we understand this, the journey begins. Okay, Eric is ready. He's back. Ha ha! he's he's coming back, folks. I knew he would. Ha ha ha! So yeah, I've had a couple of people ask to join, and I hope you understand. There he is. Hey, welcome back, bro.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, I know. You just needed to take a break, and I gave a station break and did some promo.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all good.
Cool. Okay, so where were we then?
uh, we were right here.
Right here.
So,
That's where we are,
freshen
right
your
here.
thoughts. Now, I wanted to ask you a question. Now you're a trained audio engineer, right? Sound
Yeah.
engineer?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And so you understand vibration, frequency, and all that jazz, right?
I do. I do. It's
Yeah,
cool. I can visualize sound, which is really fascinating, and it helps me. It helps me. When I write a song, it's like painting a picture or cooking a meal, and I feel like painting, writing music, and cooking are very similar. It's all different colors and patterns. I don't know. I mean, so
yeah, yeah.
I definitely understand or understand somewhat of raising the frequency, frequency, and
Yes, indeed.
and it's like I've drank my urine when my frequency was low because of my diet, and and I've drank it when my diet was high vibe, and it does make a difference. Urine is absolutely more intelligent when you have more raw foods in your body. Now, a lot of people ask me like, well, I smoke and I drink and I eat meat. Should I still drink my urine? And the answer is hell yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Even more so.
Even more so. And this is the way I wrap my head around it. So if you eat a lot of processed foods and meat and sugar and things like that, and you start drinking your urine every day, what's going to happen is your body's going to slowly start balancing itself out. You're going to start thinking twice about that steak or that fucking piece of bread or the donut or the beer, because you're going to feel it more whenever you start drinking your
Yes.
tea. So it's like your body's going to want to balance itself out, and your body's going to want to give itself the most optimal food it can, and you're just going to be more in tune with yourself if you drink your pee every day. So
Yes.
and even if your pee is super acidic because of your diet, I believe it works kind of like lemon water. When lemon water is acidic, but when it passes through your liver, it actually turns alkaline. It's not going to hurt you. Same with acidic urine.
Right.
It's not going to hurt you, but it is better when it's alkalized. There's no doubt about it. But it can't hurt you,
And
you
I
know?
and I had to, I learned that one way after the fact. I mean, because I was a chef, and I was looking at your resume. You were working, or maybe you still are, at the House of Blues. Is that right?
Yeah, it got shut down a couple years ago, but I was one of the sound.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, it's funny because that very building right on Sunset across from the comedy store,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Well, I was at 23 years old, I was the executive chef of a restaurant in that very building. It was called
Wow.
Roy's Cuisine of China. Yeah,
Oh, that's
that
funny.
very building. Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know you lived in LA. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I lived there in back in the mid 70s,
Cool. Oh,
and
best
worked
time
at the
to be
Bel
there.
Air Hotel, the Huntington Sheraton Hotel. I was chef at Roy's. I mean, I had a quite a career
Did you
in
ever hang
LA.
out at the Rainbow Bar and Grill?
I know the Rainbow. Yeah, I went to the Roxy, the Rainbow. I mean, I saw a lot of great music, a lot of shows, and I was
Yeah.
way into jazz. So I mean, I saw a lot of just awesome opportunities when I was there.
Sure.
Tower Records, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
spent a lot of money there.
Yeah. Oh man, what a tragedy. Dang you,
Yeah,
internet.
yeah, yeah. I know. Well, Anthony's in there watching, and he's quite an amazing producer and recording artist. He's got some fabulous CDs, and people that are in that do this type of work, producing, writing music, performing music, all of that. That most people don't realize how much work really goes into producing art, whatever that art is, and I have nothing but respect,
Yeah,
lots of love. Yeah. I mean,
the heavy
it's,
industry. It's going
yeah,
through a lot of
yeah.
changes right now,
And it's a cruel industry,
yeah,
no different than theater, Hollywood, television. These are cruel industries, really brutally cruel. Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah,
And,
it's fun. You gotta definitely put on my big boy pants and just don't take anything personal, because
yeah.
it's pretty wild. And like, I mean, oh man, the entertainment biz and the rock and roll biz, I mean, I'll say it, it's a low vibe culture. I mean, I'll fucking
Yeah.
say it. I mean, I got no problem saying that. But but as a collective, like we're not like you can see it in culture, but we're raising our vibration. You can see a lot, like yeah, there's a lot of silly, really low vibe music out there, but there's a lot of like rock that is raising the vibe and raising the bar, And man, I mean, I work at bars and I like to talk to drunk people. They're funny, and I like to tell drunk people I drink my pee just to see their reaction on their face. And it's like,
Uh-huh.
oh man, talk about a good conversation starter at a bar. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they think I'm kidding,
Well,
and then I get
yeah.
all into it, and they're like, "Oh, you're serious?" I'm like, "Mm-hmm, mm-hmm."
Well, if you have one of these with you, right, you go to the bathroom, you fill it up, and you come back and you sit there, and it looks like you're drinking a beer.
hopefully, hopefully they won't smell it. That's all. Funny, man.
Oh God.
I don't know. Have you seen my web series with the puppet?
No.
So
Tell us about that.
well, I have a rock and roll band, a psychedelic rock band, but my bass player is he's a little short, coke addict Muppet. So I'm always trying to get him into juicing and yoga and like things that are good for you. But on our next episode, he's gonna catch me drinking my pee and make fun of me. So it's gonna be funny.
Now,
It's gonna be
is that a YouTube channel?
yeah. I'll put the link on the comments after we're done.
Cool.
It'll be
Awesome.
funny
I'd
because
like to check that out myself. That
yeah.
sounds very cool.
Well, it's going to be great. I mean, I'm really excited for making this episode, make more episodes about urine therapy because I definitely want to poke fun at it. And, but even though I want to poke fun at it, I want people to see that it's a real technique that we can all get down with. We don't have to be sick. If you're eating right and breathing right and drinking right, even in this toxic world, we don't have to be sick, but it ain't easy. I used to talk a lot of shit about Western medicine, and now I don't. Now I say if
Yeah.
someone wants to do Western medicine, that's fine. But what I find about the difference between healing within and using Western medicine is if you use Western medicine, you might buy yourself time. But if you heal from within with breath work and urine therapy and the right diet, you're actually burning karma and you won't go back to suffering anymore if you get to the root of the problem. And I feel like urine fasting is one of the best tools that we can use with burning our karma. There's no doubt in my mind that it's the best. It is one of the best tools. I mean, you can still burn karma without drinking urine, but if you want if you want to make your journey a little smoother and a little easier and a little more loving, then drink the pee.
Well,
Don't
in my experience, it's an accelerant, and
exactly.
and it and
I like
and it's fast tracking.
yeah, yeah,
Certainly you can do
yeah.
it with breath work, you can do it with fasting, you can do it with juicing, you can do it with distilled water, you can do it with so many modalities, you know. But for me, it just all happened so fast. I mean, I was just on the super highway to health, and it just turned my life around. So I just ripped off the rear view mirrors, man, and just put the pedal to the metal, man. I wasn't fucking around. I was just like, I'm in. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And it has been a rewarding experience, and it still is every day. It's why
Yeah.
in reference to what you were commenting, about not paying, like with the Western medicine, this, that, and the other. I'm pretty aware of everything. I've done a lot of homework, a lot of research. I've been a conspiracy analyst for decades and decades, but it's all moot to me anymore. I'm putting all of my attention on love. Period.
Good. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
It's all I want to focus on is love and self-healing, and be that source at all times
Yeah.
without distraction. And I found that everything, including flat earth, other things that I actually believe and are interested in, they're all just a distraction because people just get argumentative and there's just way too much negative energy. And I'm not involved in that. I'm just not interested in involving myself.
I'm with you.
Period.
I'm with you. I'm with you. A lot of, yeah, there's there's a lot of wild stuff on the internet, and like you said, best thing you could have said about it, it's a distraction. It's a freaking distraction.
Yeah.
What's more important than love? Nothing. You know?
Well,
Nothing.
and people ask me all the time, like, oh, do you watch these videos? Do you see this video? They send me videos. They send me links and this, that, and the other, and I appreciate that. But, it takes me a lot of time to do what I do in production and publishing and, doing these live shows. These all take amazing amount of time in the post-production. And
Yeah.
anybody who does production knows how much time is involved. And so I dedicate my focus to that. And when I do have time, when I want to just relax, that's why I listen to Alan Watts and Terrence McKenna and Muji and these people, because they're just soothing to me. That to me
Yeah.
is like taking a really soothing cup of tea and just, laying back, and I don't have to put a whole bunch of shit in there. I can just chill and dig the vibe. So,
Yeah.
that's how I roll.
I love it. Speaking of Terrence McKenna or his ghost was on our last episode of the Elroy Show. So I will post.
Oh, wow.
I'll, I will post that
Now,
episode.
is that an animated?
No,
Is it animated?
It's just me and a puppet and
Oh,
on
okay.
a rooftop in an apartment.
That's so awesome. I love that. I love that.
He's
It's
Terrence. I
so
do a really
clever.
good. I do a really good Terrence McKenna impression. So you'll be able to. Yeah.
I'll look forward to it. How many episodes do you already have?
Oh, I don't. We have like maybe 10 or 12, and I mean they're garbage. They're silly, and they're like we were just really messing around, just playing with the waters. But the last episode with Terrence McKenna, I think it was our first written episode. All the ones before that are just improv and a little bit of editing, But
Yeah. Well,
I'm not. I'm an audio. I'm not. Yeah, go ahead.
well, there's two things that I learned a long time ago, and I still will. I am absolute about them because it actually encouraged me as an artist. And these two thoughts are art is whatever you can get away with. That's
I like
one.
it.
And the other one is art for art's sake.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
who's the critic? And we are our own worst critics.
Oh yeah.
And that's why most people hide out and they don't hang out. They won't put themselves out there because they are so critical of themselves. They've lost the understanding of the self-love, or they haven't found it yet. Either way, that it just takes your willingness to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I really care who's going to throw tomatoes. As a stand-up, and I've done a lot of stand-up, it's like if you can't handle the hecklers and the tomatoes, you have no business being up there.
Agreed.
I mean, that's just the way it rolls.
Agreed. Agreed. We need.
Yeah.
I've been wanting. I mean, I don't know if I have the have the balls to do this yet, but we need some stand-up people here in Hollywood talking about urine therapy and how funny and real it is, because it would blow people's minds. They'd be like, is he serious? Is he talking about drinking his pee? That's disgusting, you know? But then we could like really get into it. I mean, for me, it's like, I mean, my whole journey with urine therapy is it's sad, but it's also happy and funny and hilarious. You know, it's like a lot of people, especially us Westerners, we don't get into urine therapy until we fucking need it, you know, until it's like the last straw. And here's my buddy Romeo. He's my best
there you
buddy.
go.
He's
Yeah,
so cool.
what a beauty he is. Beautiful
He's
animal.
okay. He looks like urine. He's gonna get them. All right.
Well, in response to that comment, Eric, I'm that guy. I mean, I saw the comedy in it right from the get-go, and I started writing all sorts of thoughts. I mean, that's why I have the shirt pisses bliss, you know, the higher frequency, put on your pea coats. You know, I mean, this shit just appears to me, and I find it hilarious. You know, I mean, I'm serious about my urine therapy,
no,
but
I like
I find
the
it
sense of
just,
humor.
you know, it's just, to me, you got to have fun. You know, I mean, if you aren't having fun, you might want to look at what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And here's a little something else that I enjoy about the whole urine therapy technique is that if I tell someone like I drink my pee and they don't want to hang out with me anymore, and they're like, that guy's fucking weird, I don't want to fucking be his friend. Well, then I'm weeding out the people I don't want to be around anyway. I wouldn't want to hang out with someone if they're going to judge me for drinking my urine. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
And so it's like, it helps. Like, while I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable, it also helps reveal people's true colors. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
and I find that to be actually really cool because, you know, I don't want to be the one saying, I don't want to hang out with that guy. I'd rather them be like, no, I don't want to hang out with that pee drinker. You know, make it way easier on me. But I mean,
I like authenticity. You know, to me, you know, genuine people that are authentic, people that are willing to show their true colors and own whatever their shit is, because we all have shit, whatever our shit is, we have to own it. Whatever it is, doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
And to judge other people for their shit is full of shit. Wait a minute. You froze up. Or there you go.
Sorry, lost you.
You still there?
For a second.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, that's part of the live, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when you're on stage and you break a guitar string in the middle of a solo, what are you going to do now, Holmes? Freak out or keep playing, right?
I just smash the whole guitar is what I do. But
there you go. Just do a Who moment.
Yeah, I do smash a lot of guitars. I have a lot of those videos. That's fun. You know what I mean? You know how Jimi Hendrix, he smashed a guitar and then he put lighter fluid on it and then he set it on fire. I think for my next show I'm gonna smash a guitar and then pee on it. That would be really fun.
There you go.
That would be.
Yeah, well, set it on fire and then pee on it.
Good. That's good. I like it.
Yeah.
You're a genius, apparently. So.
So I'm gonna step away from the camera for a second because I'm gonna do a refill. So tell him a story.
Okay. All right. He's gonna go fill it up. Oh, what's a good pee story? All right. I'm gonna tell you guys the one time that I couldn't drink my pee. The one time I was in New York with my late wife. A couple years ago, and we went out and had sushi and beer and and sake. And so I was drank a little much. So in the morning I was quite hungover. And I was like, well, I guess pee can help with the hangover. And I downed the pee and I couldn't hold it in. The fish and the alcohol made it too disgusting and I had to spit it out. So that was the one time I couldn't drink my own pee. I was just telling your audience that I couldn't drink my pee after.
Oh, I could hear you.
Okay.
I was right here. Yeah. I just, you know, I out of respect, I don't whip it out and pee on camera.
I'm sure your audience appreciates that. And so does the Facebook terms of service.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Now, I've never been thrown out of, any of the platforms. And when I look at my analytics, like even on YouTube, and I'm up to, I think, 276 videos on my YouTube.
Wow.
And I only have like 3 dislikes in that whole history. I mean, it's crazy.
That's
And
not too bad. That's not too bad.
yeah, yeah. And they're now they're gonna demonetize. I mean, and I don't make any money. I think out of all, I mean, it's just ludicrous anyway. To have drug commercials on my pee videos
Gotta
cracks
love
me
it.
up.
Gotta love it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
talk about a
ironic.
contrast, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's the way I look at it is that the whole the whole philosophy and the science behind urine therapy, it's for some people it's too much for them to bear. And it's like some people are going to say, "What, you're telling me my whole life I could have been drinking my pee and I wouldn't have to take these pills?" It's some people can't wrap that around their head that society's been, wrong or lying or however you want to look at it. It would hurt too much for them to know
Yeah.
that they could have been healthy their whole life just by drinking their urine, or at least, have a step up. It's just it's too heavy for some, and I understand. Luckily I got into urine therapy when I was 30, and it was because I did chemotherapy and something. I promised myself I would never do chemo, and when I was in that situation, I buckled and I caved and I did it. And I don't think it really helped me, and if anything, it hurt me. But it didn't physically help me, but it seemed to have pushed me to do urine therapy, because after I did the chemo, the doctors told me that the cancer was still in my body and they wanted to take out my lymph nodes. I mean, that pushed me to the end. I was just at the end. I was like, no, fuck this. I got to do something drastic. And that was the first time I did a 3-week urine fast. So after I did the urine fast, I had one more CAT scan, and the doctor said, whatever you did worked. Apparently you don't have cancer anymore. So after that, horrible experience, I realized, holy shit, I can drink my pee. I can do this for life. This is amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Isn't that
and
great?
yeah, and it's like, why would I stop now? I can't stop now. And I just went down the rabbit hole, the pee rabbit hole, and it goes deeper and further and deeper, and it's like never ending. I mean, you could say it ends with the Philosopher's Stone, and here, but this is, and I'm sure that if you really know what you're doing, you could make a Philosopher's Stone from your urine. And
Yeah, no, and I've talked about this in prior videos because Rosalind Hanson has that knowledge. And you were talking about making the kabuchi tea,
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Well, in what she teaches, and she learned this from her guide, which was a childhood, an Indian man named Rama. And instead
oh,
of rinsing it with the kabuchi,
right,
you rinse it with fresh urine. And you do that. You rinse the ormus 3 times
yeah,
with fresh urine and
okay,
then dry it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's how you get to the philosopher's stone, the
or
alchemy.
at least a
Turn
beginning step.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, but it's principally sound. I mean, when you understand the procedure, when you
Yeah,
understand the content of what you're working with, it makes perfect sense.
it
Like
does.
she's had her analytics done by a guy in Australia, and there is gold in the
Sure.
pea.
No, that's right. That's right.
There's several different structures from the periodic
Right.
table that are all
Exactly.
included in RP,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. That's
The
like the
the
Ormus.
golden elixir,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it
No,
really
no,
is.
that's, and like, I was earlier in the video, I was kind of comparing the Ormus you can buy at the store that's extracted from the Dead Sea salt, and then Ormus that you can make with your urine, and how similar they are. And they have the same properties. They're like this very fine, powdery, it's like it's more fine than sand. It's kind of like flour.
And it
And
crystallizes.
yeah, sure, sure. And it
Yeah.
reacts really interesting in the sun. And it seems like when I meditate with the Ormus, it seems like it wants the sunlight. It like asks, it like the sunlight supercharges it, you know, which is pretty cool. So it, and like we all know that Ormus from Dead Sea Salt has all, like you said, maybe all the elements off the periodic table, definitely the, you know, the heavy metals, the nickel, the silver, platinum, rhodium, iridium, gold, and that those elements are obviously, you know, in our body as well, not just our urine, but in our body. Like we're made up of all these elements. And like you said, there's a little bit of gold in our body, you know, and a little bit of gold in our pee. So it's, and I've read that and not even in new agey texts, you know, I think that's just kind of like a known fact that we're, you know, we're made up of all these elements. And man, oh, so something
Well,
that Rosalind said when I first found you, or when you found me on Facebook, and Rosalind was talking about drying out the Ormus and snorting it, and she said she learned that from that guy Rama. I didn't know who Rama was. I was like, who's Rama? You know, and I've actually done that. I've actually dried out my Ormus and snorted it, and it's like, again, it's just like you can just concentrate on like supercharge. It's like you're able to relax and concentrate at the same time. And I mean, I've had Ormus trigger lucid dreams for me, because initially when you have a lucid dream, it's because you're super aware, because you're concentrating and relaxed. And that's what I find about the Ormus, that it helps you relax and concentrate. So it's just like it's a great supplement for anyone who's looking to like raise the vibe of their brain, to make their brain more high powered, you know. But I also think that it's really good to not take Ormus all the time, and to see what it feels like to be sober, to have nothing in you but the pee, so you can really feel the difference of what it feels like to have Ormus and what it feels like to have none. Because just like any supplement, we need to intuitively understand what our body needs. You know, if you want to take it every day, you can. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I'm a big advocate for self-reflection when we're sober, self-reflection when we have nothing in our body, you know, and to
yeah.
see how these two things work. And
Well,
yeah,
I grew up, you know, in the as a teen in the '60s, and I was introduced to psychedelics by the time I was 14 and 15. I was on. I mean, I was taking lots of psychedelics, and I've had lots of psychedelics in my life, you know, in many forms. And it was only recently, about maybe a month ago, and I just never even I was never even aware of DMT. Wasn't even aware of it. And I was actually listening to Terrence McKenna last night, and he was making reference to it when they first were introduced to it back in like the early '60s.
mm-hmm.
Now, with all the psychedelics I had taken in my life, which I appreciate, I do. You know, they were mind expanding for me, and you know, I really enjoyed them. But this hit of DMT, man, I was blown away. I mean, that was the fastest out of body experience I'd ever experienced. And I had no idea where I was going. I had no clue what I was in for.
Mm-hmm.
And it only lasted about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or something like that. But
Sure.
man, it could have been 20 days. You know, really, quite frankly, it was so mind blowing.
Yeah.
But see, I've also experienced what I saw. I mean, the visuals I was seeing from that hit of DMT was just, it was like, man, it's amazing what the brain has the capacity of, you know, evolving with. I mean, it's just outstanding. But I find that with sun gazing,
Yeah.
that, you know, just sitting there and taking the photosynthesis in, I mean, the sun just starts swirling and twirling. It just starts becoming like a disco. You know, the amount of
Yeah.
colors and the experience is just mind boggling. So, you know, we can
Yeah.
source all of these elements on our own without the extra
Sure.
stimuli, although
Sure.
always enjoyed the stimuli, you know.
Sure. And that is so true. And the goal for people like me and you are to find out these techniques, you know. How can we release DMT from our brains? You know, I found I can release DMT through uh, through certain types of pranayama, like the Wim Hof technique. Like he shows people how to release DMT within 20 breaths, you know? And you mentioning sun gazing, I didn't read this anywhere, but I've been doing breath work while sun gazing. And like you said, it's like a disco ball. It's explosive. It's like I literally can like leave my body just by 10 deep breaths and then holding it with the retention. And but you know, you do that while sun gazing and you get tenfold, you know. And that's
Yeah.
there's a lot of, I mean, this is why I can't hate on the digital age too much, because while people like me who wanted to who are in the music business, and we watch like the music business kind of crumble because of the internet, blah blah blah, the internet's brought us a lot of good things. It's actually, while there's a lot of distraction and there's a lot of misinformation online, if you know what you're looking for, you can find some of the coolest techniques that like someone will just casually write about on a Facebook comment, or you know, on like a blog, and you're like, whoa, this guy said he, you know, did breath work while sun gazing. I mean, normally we can't find that kind of info, you know, and it's like, I'm a piece of me is really grateful for the digital age, you know. We just got to not get too lazy, you know, careful with the AI stuff. And
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing is that it's like I've been building my a new channel over on Steemit and DTube, and all I've been doing is adding content. I really haven't spent a whole lot of time over there, you know, following other people and this, that, and the other, because really it's just about a lot of time, you know. And but Facebook and YouTube are the two primary formats that are the easiest access.
yeah,
And, you know, Twitter and Instagram, but those are just farts in the wind to me. They're a
right.
waste of time for me. For
Yeah,
me. Now,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, other people use them as their handle. They work great. I don't know. It's just too much extra for me.
Yeah.
Now, just case in point. Now, the show I did Tuesday with allegedly Dave, by the time that broadcast was over, there had already been 3,100 views during the
Nice,
broadcast.
nice,
3,100 views.
a
And
lot.
as of this morning, it's up over 4,000 views. So I can't do that on YouTube.
Right, right.
I mean, you know, I have it over on YouTube, and there's been over a couple hundred views in a matter of just a couple of days. But I just look at the power of the communication. That's why I'm choosing the live format, because I realize it has the potential of reaching more people in the moment. And here they are, you know, they just keep showing up, you know, and so uh, it's not like I'm obsessed by Facebook. I just use it. It's just a tool, you know, and you know, I like to share. I like to share my publishing. I just give it away, man. It's all just, I
Yeah,
just give it away,
and you're
you know.
helping a lot of people. Like a lot of people who don't know they can drink their pee, they'll see your video and be like, wait, I can do this, and then you know they'll get rid of their allergies or whatever issue they had. Have you heard that this was on the mainstream news? Have you heard that the Chinese regrew teeth in aged urine? It was on CBS.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
real scientific data there. Like, all right,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see. I mean,
Using stem cell enzyme from urine.
yeah, that's incredible. Like you know, I mean, that's what I try to tell people who, I mean, I meet so many people who have so many different issues and diseases and mental neuroses, and like, and I know, and like, I consider myself a urine therapy expert. While I don't know everything that's in urine, I know how to prescribe like a certain urine therapy treatment for whatever your issue is, you know? And I mean, it's not hard. Anyone can do it. If you, once you get into it, you figure it out. You're like, oh, okay, here's how it works, you know? And, but you know, I would really, I know not everybody's going to be into this type of therapy, obviously, but there are a small handful of people when they're told about this. I find a small handful of people are like, I'm gonna go home, drink my pee today. You know, I mean, I got,
Yeah.
I have a lot of stories of getting certain people to drink their urine. It's not, yeah, it sounds so ego. I got them to drink their pee. No, I just mention it to someone who may have needed it.
Right.
Like, there's a friend, like I have a friend in the gym. This lady from the islands, she's super cool, but she had something wrong in her eye. Like it was kind of yellow. I don't know, like something was funky in there. And I was like, hey, and she's a nurse, so she knows her stuff, you know. So I told this lady, my friend, I said, hey, you should put some fresh urine in your eyes, and it'll clear that issue right up. And she started crying, and she was like, oh my God, you're right. Oh my God, this is so incredible. Even before she did it, she knew that this is gonna work. And so I saw her 2 weeks later, and she's like, hey, I put the fresh urine in my eyes. My eyes are all cleared up. I'm good to go. I'm like, yeah, sister. I'm like, fuck yeah, you know? And it
Well,
warms my heart to see people heal themselves. And I don't care how they do it. Here's something I always say. Whatever works. Whatever works. If you're
yeah.
using P and it's working, great. If you're not and it's working, great. You know?
Well,
I don't care
and
what people
also,
do as long as it works.
yeah, well, that's what I tell people. Trust your own instincts, listen to your body, follow your heart. You know, it's not up to me. I mean, knowledge is everywhere. You know, if whatever you're doing is working, great.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah.
in reference to what you said, isn't it interesting that the two major eye products out there are called Visine and Murine? Okay, well, they come from urine. Okay, they do.
Huh.
Now, I put up a post. I put up a post on my Facebook pages that is a promo page for Portageon. Now, Portageon is proud of this. Okay, that they separate urine out of the porta potties, and they have partnerships with the pharmaceutical companies.
Is that
Now,
is that
this is
conspiracy or is that true?
no, it's their page. You just click on portageon.com and they list all of the ingredients. They tell you the science behind it. It's fascinating,
Whoa.
okay?
So
It's a
it's
multi-billion
public
dollar
knowledge?
business.
So this is public knowledge?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. This is where people just don't get it, man. They
Yeah.
think I'm blowing it out my ass. Well, I am with my aged urine enemas, but other than that, I mean, the truth will set you free, man. I mean, if you want to live in denial, you want to keep your head up your ass, that's up to you. That's all fine. A lot of people have their credentials and their plaques on the wall, so they're very defensive, and never underestimate the power of denial, because people will not get past their own bullshit to hear the truth, because it defies everything that they ever learned.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and in
That's what I
reference
was saying
in
earlier.
reference to
Right.
also what in reference to what you said, in the course of this last year that I've been doing urine therapy, and I'm not underestimating. It's been hundreds of people that have told me and PM'd me and called me that they started drinking their pee because they
Yeah.
saw one of my videos.
Yeah,
Hundreds,
yeah, yeah.
hundreds.
Yeah, that's great. That's what I'm talking
You know,
about. And
and so I know that whatever I'm doing seems to be reaching people. And so that's why I keep doing what I'm
put some
doing,
like buttons right there.
because I just figure, hey, there's still somebody out there, waiting, you know,
Yeah.
that just hasn't heard yet, you know,
Yeah. Well, that's
they're
what I
just
thought was
looking.
so fun about making these videos with Troy Casey is like you said, I've had these people write me and say, "Thank you, you got me to drink my pee pee, and I feel great." I'm like, "That's great." You know, I'm glad I could point you in the right direction because I mean, the only reason I got into urine therapy was because of cancer and because I wanted to be a healthier person, you know? So I don't even like look at it like I'm this great dude or like anything. It's like if I would have never got sick, I would have never discovered this and I wouldn't have been able to pass along this info to the next person who needs it, you know? And there's a saying that I really love. It says, knowledge is only a burden when you don't share it, you know? So I would feel a little selfish if I wasn't sharing this type of techniques, or, you know, these type of techniques to, you know, whoever on the internet. I don't know. I'm really bad at social media. That's why I got friends like you and Troy Casey to help spread the word a little bit, you know?
Well, the whole purpose of life is to find your gift, and the mission is to share your gift. I mean, really, it's as simple as that. Discover yourself and share your authentic truth.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, doesn't matter. I mean, that's moot. But
Oh,
if you grew up and somebody told you you couldn't sing, couldn't dance, couldn't play guitar, you look like shit, you sound like shit, and you believed them, well, look at the results. You know,
hold that
a lot
thought.
of people just want to have their hand held. You'll be back. I hope you're all having fun. I know I am. This has been a real honor and a real
Oh,
privilege to have this
people
buddy.
told me I
Oh, here we
couldn't.
go. He's got his
People told me
guitar.
I
All
couldn't
right.
sing, but
Yeah.
let's see. You gotta drink your pee. It's great in the morning time, but it's a little acidic, but it's also the best of the day. Yeah. So, that's all I just wrote that. I just wrote it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Okay. You heard it live, folks. Well, Daniel, he on our very first show, he put together. It's actually the music comes from the trailer for Urine, the documentary film that Stephen Williams made. And so he took the basic chorus, but he added his own kind of versing, and it's really a great ditty. I drink my weed.
Yeah, you gotta post that link. I want to see that. It sounds funny.
Yeah. And I don't know how to do a lot of these things. I really don't. You'd be amazed. People go, "Why don't you just put the links below and all that stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why don't I? I don't know." I'm just in my process all the time. I mean, I work with what I know, but I'm no tech whiz. I'm so far from a tech whiz. I never even worked on a computer until I went to film school. And all I learned, what I learned is how to edit film, work in digital media. So I didn't even come into social media until just a couple of years ago. I mean, it's all foreign to me, really. I
Yeah.
mean, these people that have been around forever doing all this shit. I mean, if you grew up like Daniel's 20 years old, he was on computers at 2 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
His father was an IT, so I mean, he's just a whiz kid. I mean, he really is. I mean, he blows my mind how quickly and how effortlessly it's a stream of consciousness for him. He doesn't even think about it. Me, I have to think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I do. I can't read a tech manual and make heads or tails of it. I just go like south. I can't make heads or tail.
Whatever you're doing, you're doing it right. So if you're reaching
Well, I
enough.
just work with what I know. I do the best I can every day.
Yeah.
I type with two fingers. I don't, it's like I have to look at all the key. I mean, it's all that stuff. It's the way it is. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a total failure in school. I still to this day couldn't tell you the difference between a noun and a verb. I'm clueless. I have no idea. And I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, all that, oh, I'm supposed to know all that. What kind of writer are you?
Is it a
I don't
noun?
know.
Is it a verb? Is it an adjective? Or have you heard the verb? That's all I got. All right.
Verb is the word.
Exactly.
So yeah, I was struggling with that early in my life. I was really, because as an early on as a writer, I mean, I have dyslexia, and I had really poor spelling. I mean, it was just horrible. And so I really improved all of my skills and work, and I still work at overcoming my dyslexia. But I learn through the dictionary. I read. I actually go in and look at the definition, learn how to spell the word correctly. I don't use spell check.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I mean, I use the dictionary as a it's a vocabulary Bible.
Totally. I knew a few people with dyslexia, and they were kind of genius in their own right because they couldn't. They like they wouldn't remember like a number, like 452-7874. They would actually remember the pattern. So are you more visual in your mind to like,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
So in some ways,
And
you're more genius than the average person who doesn't have dyslexia, because your brain is wired differently. And like, I wish I was more visual, but I'm not. I'm more audio.
and I'm totally tactile.
That's cool.
And I really have an amazing memory of what I choose. Somehow, I have really amazing files in my brain that I can pull shit right out of my ass in a blink of an eye.
Excellent.
But, and that's why I started writing in the first place, is because I didn't want to hold all that in my mind. I was writing it to release it.
Yeah.
So even when I do if I recite or perform my poems, I don't memorize them.
Yeah.
I didn't write them to memorize them. That's not why I wrote them. I wrote them so that I would make more room, free my thinking, free my mind. And that's how I roll.
That's cool. That's cool. And that's like how I play music. I improvise. It's like a stream of consciousness. It's just, and like I said, I don't memorize what I play. It just comes out, It's great, great therapy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's what I do too. Somebody even asked me yesterday or the other day on the videos that I was doing with Dave, about, do I script all this? And I don't script anything. I mean, I write my poems. Those are the things I scribe. My comments I scribe, and I'll write things, and I'm very cognizant about writing thoughts. But when I mean, my life, I'm an improv guy. I mean, that's who I am. I mean, if I go on stage anytime, anywhere, for any reason, regardless of the crowd, I just follow my heart. I just trust my heart and I just let it roll. Whatever appears, that's what's supposed to be coming out of me.
Me too,
Not
brother.
Stage.
Yeah, it's more fun that way because you never know what's coming next. You got to be on your toes. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
That's how I roll.
I dig it. I dig it. So,
yeah.
is there any other wild urine therapy recipes that we could go over? So we talked about I really need to write down this Ormus kombucha SCOBY recipe because when I talk about it, I feel like it's not coming out so smooth. So soon I'm gonna write it and just put it online. I should put the recipe actually on some of those urine therapy Facebook groups just to get started because I really want to get this stuff out and I want urine therapy advocates to be progressive, to really because like I said, I found that guy Liver Flush Man work and I expanded on his work. So someone could take my work and expand on that and so on and so forth. And it's a ripple effect. And, I'm really excited to see how things are going to unfold in the world, but also in the urine therapy community and watch it grow, So it's
Jordan Blakey, he started one of the urine therapy groups. He admins one of the groups.
Oh, so you know who he is?
Oh yeah, I know who he is.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I'd like to get him on the show. Actually, I've reached out to him because he is a fascinating guy.
He is a fascinating guy, and I just think what he's done is so progressive, and I want to tell him about my recipe, and I think he'll trip out on it. The thing is, when I check his YouTube page, he hasn't made a video in like 2 years, and I don't know if he's still.
I don't know where he's been.
Yeah, I don't know if he's active right now. I think maybe he hung up the social media thing for a little while. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I've reached out to him a couple of times, and I know he started one of the groups, or he's an admin in one of the groups, and I know he's in Canada, and I know he's really brilliant.
Yeah.
These things I know about him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, totally. He's, man, there's a few of his videos that I've watched multiple times where I'm just like, holy shit. Like, is this guy really saying that? And like, he's had, I mean, he hasn't mentioned breath work. I know he does yoga, and then I know he's done the meditation thing and got deep into that. But the him taking the Ormus kombucha SCOBY, eating that, and like him, doing all these really wild urine therapy explorations. The Syrian aliens have contacted him in his dreams and meditations, and that's really fascinating. And he was saying that the Syrians were like that they are fascinated by us doing yoga because it helps our evolutionary process. So same thing with drinking pee, like these, whatever, fourth, fifth, sixth dimensional aliens. I like to call them dream characters, if you want to look at it from a logical perspective. They want us to evolve, and I think
Yes.
it's when he starts talking about the Syrians, I believe him. I'm like, okay, he really did experience that, and he really is blown away. And it's cool. It's cool. Like we should keep reaching out to him, because I've never spoken with him, and I really would love to.
No, I haven't either. I mean, I've reached out to him several times. We PM'd, I think, once briefly.
Okay.
That was a while ago, quite a
Yeah.
while ago.
He's
But
on
I,
Facebook,
I,
right?
I, I hold it in my mind's eye,
Yeah.
to have him on the show. I
Cool.
do, you know.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. And he's on
So,
Facebook.
well, he has one of the groups. I'm trying to think which one it is, but one of the Facebook groups. He either started it or he's just one of the admins or the only admin for it.
Okay.
So yeah.
We'll, we'll keep reaching
And
out.
I'm in 13 groups, and it's hard to keep up with any of them, really, quite frankly. And I respect all of them. I
Yeah.
do. It's just I'm just got a lot on my plate. I'm busy.
Yeah.
And finding time for myself is a part of that. I don't want to be busy all the time, but I'm dedicated.
Yeah. You
I'm
are.
willing to. I'm dedicated. It takes a lot of concentration,
Yeah.
and I'm
And I
willing to
think
do it.
that's awesome. And I think, like you said, I mean, the greatest reward, is all the people that you're touching and helping, and people actually writing you and saying, hey, thank you so much for telling us about this, it's really helped in this way, so that's the most rewarding part for what people like you and me are doing, and a lot of shenanigans
Absolutely.
goes with it, but also a lot of healing goes with it as well,
Well,
so
and my experience has been really quite honestly positive. I mean, in the whole year, I've only had like, I think one, maybe two trolls, you
yeah.
know,
Oh, and you
and,
gotta
and,
love them, and
and
you gotta love them.
oh yeah, I do. Here's the thing is that, the, the vast majority, and I can go into analytics and prove it, it's just positive. The comments are loving, the likes, I mean, all of that outweighs anything else. People are really receptive and responsive that way, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And and even recently, I mean, it's hilarious, because there's like this one troll group of I don't know, it's just wacky, some guy laying in a bathtub of blood and shit. I mean, it's just silly. I don't get it. But they took a picture. They took a picture that was of Daniel and I, and it was something that I don't know where they pulled it from, but it was from the symposium, and it was a picture of us standing there smiling, and all they went on about is our greasy hair, how there that everybody has this stringy, greasy blonde hair. That
These
shit
guys have
cracked me
hair. I'm
up, man.
jealous.
I don't give a yeah. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I just don't care. I mean, I'm just staying focused. I'm not going to let any of the detractors distract me. It's a waste of my energy and focus completely. I don't give a fuck. I just don't.
And we're planting seeds as well, because
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people been like, "Oh, I'll never drink my pee," and a year later they're like, "Hey, Eric, how do I drink my pee?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." I was like, "Sure, yeah,
Well,
I'll take pee in a glass and drink
here,
it." Complimentary.
and this has been my experience, and I tell people I drink my pee, and they go, "You drink your pee? Are you crazy?" And I said, you have chronic diseases and take handfuls of med every day, and you're calling me crazy?
It's,
You know?
I, I know. I think, I try not to be too judgmental because I can be very judgmental, and that's, and when you're on the path, that's what we're trying to move away from. But I really think I think everybody else is crazy. I'm just as crazy as anybody who's putting meds or burgers or dead flesh in their body. I don't think drinking pee is any
Yes.
no crazy. It's just, I
Yeah.
mean, if I'm going to be really nice about it, it's just as bad or just as good, however you want to look at it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
And
cool.
again, it's all perspective.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yep. And from my perspective, oh, I love ice baths. Have you ever taken an ice bath?
No, I don't do cold real good. I
Oh man,
like
you
hot
would
tubs.
love it. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
Just seeing if I could get you into
No,
that one.
I've had, here's the truth about all that is that I've had a lot of nerve damage in my life, real early on from chefing, construction. I mean, my hands particularly. My hands were really extreme, and they the cold. I mean, when I'd have to go into a freezer to do inventory, I mean, if my hands go over that limit, I mean, the recovery process can take 3 times longer than it took for them to get that to that point. So
Yeah,
just even the idea of putting my hands in ice water is just like, no way. You know,
it's my new
it just,
obsession.
yeah, yeah. Well, and people tell me that all the time. I mean, it's not like I'm unaware of that,
It's it
of the hot cold sensation,
Yeah, and it's for me it's been
closing the
baby
pores.
steps. Like, I mean, the first ice bath I did, I think I lasted 20 seconds, and the next ice bath 25 seconds, next 30 seconds, and I went up in increments about 5 seconds, and yesterday I did 4 minutes, and I mean,
Wow.
it's life changing. It like what it's done to my testosterone, and what it's doing to my nervous system and my immune system. It's just great. And then like I don't get cold anymore. I never really got cold much anyway, but now it's like I'm that much warmer by taking all these cold baths. Ugh. But yeah, I definitely want to
Hey,
like.
hey, you're full of shit, man. You live in LA.
I know the weather's phenomenal here. It's never cold. It's never cold. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
So
we were at minus 17 degrees here, bro.
where do
I
you
mean,
live? Where are you?
I'm in Missouri. I'm
Oh
in the
wow,
middle of
okay.
the heartland.
It sounds
Okay.
cold.
And I mean, we went through, and I mean, this was brutal. It went on for weeks, weeks. And
Wow.
I braved it. I actually turned my mind around. I made videos about it because I'd always battled the cold. Now I embrace the cold.
Exactly.
So I changed my
Exactly.
mind about it, and I've improved remarkably as a result of it.
I dig
You
it.
know,
I dig.
yeah, it's all a process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And today it's like 58 degrees outside. Now in LA, that's a cold day. Here it's
Really
like
cool.
the tropics. You
Yeah.
know,
Cool.
so feels good.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it. And so let's talk about drinking urine in the movie world. Have you ever seen the movie Dodgeball?
No.
There's a part where the guy in the wheelchair, who's like their dodgeball coach, he says, "Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? No, but it's sterile and I like the taste." Everybody looks like, what?
Oh, great.
It's a great, great
Yeah.
quote. And then the movie The Martian with Matt Damon, I believe he's drinking urine in that movie. It doesn't show him peeing in the jar, but he's drinking this stuff that looks like pee, and he drinks it, and he goes, "Oh, fuck you, Mars." And like he's like drinking it to survive. And
Uh
then you
huh.
have like the pee drinking on the movie Waterworld, where they filter it first. And everybody asks me like, "Oh, do you got to filter it?" I'm like, "No, that movie's full of shit. You just no, just tip it back, ready to go." So I've like they're starting to like it's being hinted here and there. And we'll
Well,
see.
there's that.
127 hours. You were about to say it, right?
Well, no, there's a scene in Dumb and Dumber where they're
Oh,
peeing in beer bottles and they get pulled over by the cop, right? And
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and he drinks it. He's
So,
like, "Get out of here!" But have you seen the movie 127 Hours? Do you know what I'm talking
no, I
about?
don't know about. I never heard of it.
So this is a true story, and the movie is with James Franco. I mean, this is a true fucking story. So this guy it's about this guy who's riding his mountain bike in the desert somewhere. He falls. He gets his arm stuck in the mountain, like he gets his
Oh,
arm
right.
stuck.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that. Yeah.
So in this movie, or in real life, this guy had to drink his pee for like 127 hours, and then after the 127 hours, he cuts off his arm and he survives. So I've read a little bit about this and heard about it in the urine therapy community. And what's believed is that, I mean, I think it's obvious. The urine saved his life and it kind of supercharged him. It got him to the place where he could lose all that blood and like still crawl, still walk home. And that's what people believe is, I mean, the urine saved his life, and I mean, I think that's proof right there. You can fast on your pee and cut off your arm and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Well,
fast.
and every new testimonial that appears just substantiates the proof and the truth. Now, there's a lot of historic record on the therapy and its powerful remedy, but we have contemporaries now, lots of contemporaries. You being one, I'm another. There's many of us out there that are just walking testimonials. We're living proof of the power and the potential of P, and it's
Totally.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's hilarious. Don't forget that.
it's hilarious. you know I mean, anybody who doesn't get it, the joke's on you, man. I mean, come on now. I mean, healing is serious business, but I find it all seriously funny
Yeah.
because if you actually, I mean, I look at, like, even in a Shakespearean sense, the tragedy comedy, the duality, the masks, right? That if you are experiencing real drama and you're traumatized, the way to the healing is through the humor. That once you can actually laugh at yourself, the healing really begins. As long as you're draped in the tragedy and the darkness and the sorrow
Yeah.
and all of that perpetual motion, you're just going down a deeper, darker hole.
Absolutely.
And we all have our own process. I mean, everybody, pain and suffering are not the same thing. Pain is physical and suffering is mental.
Mm. Mm.
They're not the same thing
I've never thought of that.
by definition.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not
That's
the same
amazing.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it is. How do we get around the corner on this? Well, laugh at yourself or somebody else will.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, if you totally, because if you laugh at yourself and you own it, nobody can touch you, and
Yeah.
that's the way it is. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. It reminds me of the song I just wrote just now. Laugh at yourself and nobody can touch you. That's all I got. That's all I got.
I love it, man. Man, this has been such a thrill to be with you, Eric. I love you so much,
Ah,
brother. You're just awesome.
I love you as well. This has been a fun talk. I'm glad we got to touch on some really cool subjects and discuss a little bit of shenanigans and our just perspective on this, which is that we're all so unique, but we're also similar as well. So it's been a
Yeah.
pleasure, and I
Well,
appreciate what you're doing in the community and you keep putting it out there and you own it, and it's so important. So I appreciate what you're doing for other people.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. And when I first started, and I was watching the earliest videos, with the exception of like Dave Murphy, he has a sense of humor. Most of them were just too flat
Yeah.
for me. The people were just trying to be so serious and significant and all that. And I thought, man, lighten up. And
Yeah,
I figured, well, everybody's got to do their own messaging, whatever. And I figured, fuck it, man, I'm going to come from the other side. I'm going to just come from the
good,
far side, move
good,
sideways, because that's
good.
just ornate. Yeah, that's an innate thing for me. It's natural. I mean, that's just who I am, my personality. I
Yeah,
mean, I get the joke, you know. So, you know, it's
yeah,
just fun. Just
totally.
fun for me.
Totally, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on that next episode about the urine with the puppet. It's gonna be epic. It's gonna be crazy, and I'll
Yeah,
post
yeah, yeah.
the latest one with Terrence McKenna. I'll post it as soon as we're done here, and you guys can watch
Awesome.
my horrible acting. Have you seen The Room or The Disaster Artist? Have
No.
you? No, my acting is as bad as like some of the worst in Hollywood, but that's what makes it so funny. So I hope
Yeah, it's authentic.
yeah, yeah, and hilarious. No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to wrap it up here, and
yeah,
I'm just going to take a minute to, state again if anybody's interested. I'll be on Lola Live tomorrow night. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Lola Live. And next week, we're going to have Rosalind Hanson and Nancy Fox and Linda Maris talking about organic gardening with urine. And Saturday morning, I have the Casey Caban question and answer, 10 a.m. on the Facebook Live. And if you do want to participate in helping ORIN Oracles become the published book that it's working towards, you can donate at weedu.me/Weedu. And don't forget the Water Life Symposium. That's in September in Las Vegas, September 1, 2, and 3. Go to waterlifesymposium.com. Click on register. It's $35. You'll be glad you did. It's a great community to be a part of. And you're going to close this out with a song?
oh, I'm all out. Yeah, best song ever. Um,
Well, and I want to thank all of our everybody that's been listening and leaving your comments and being a part of this whole experience. I just love you and really appreciate your loving support and all your comments. And I respond to all the comments in post production because I like to stay focused on the guest and the conversation. It's hard for me to try to respond to all the comments and stuff. But I do appreciate them. So, always feel free to leave the comments because they are of value and we love you.
I love you.
So, Eric, now you have an awesome, safe trip to Peru, my friend. How
Thank you.
cool is that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. I'm going to drink my urine after taking ayahuasca, which I have done.
Oh,
And
awesome.
oh man, it's powerful. Like you really feel the medicine stay in your body after you do that. So, you
I
know.
bet. Yeah. All right, my friend. Peace out, bro.
Thank you
Love
so
you
much.
dearly.
I'll see you soon.
I'll look forward to that, man. Thanks again. Bye. So long, everyone.